What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel where today we'll be back working on the 2006 Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS project. But before we get to that, if you like watching salvage rebuilds or you just like cars as much as I do, then be sure you click that subscribe button so you can follow along with everything that goes on here on the channel. The replacement panels are in. As you can see, I have them zip screwed down in the correct spot. Same up here. I've got a jack to brace this piece to hold it a little bit better, and you can see I've loosely installed the factory brace up here on top. And if you've been questioning whether this thing was in the right spot, you can see right there the bolt hole lines up. So I already have this top piece cut and fitted, but I've already did a test fit on the headlight and the bumper support, and everything seems to line up pretty well, so we can move forward and start doing some welding here. I welded in this panel here, and I took all the zip screws out, treated all these areas that I did the spot welds, and I ground down and got this nice and smooth and ready for our top panel. And as you can see, it fits right in there nicely, and we'll weld this thing right down the seam, weld up all the spot welds, and it'll be good to go. Now, I haven't worked over here on this panel yet. This is not welded in. We'll come back and weld that in, and then we're going to have to do a little bit of welding down here at the bottom to splice this back together. So let's get to welding. And there you have it, the radiator support repair, which was the most complicated repair on this project, is finally complete, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. It looks really good. It looks a lot better than what we had before, and everything lines up like it should, right back into the factory spot. And you can see it's nice and smooth after I've ground it down and went over it with some DA paper and sanded it down. Now we're going to coat this. We're going to paint all this. We're probably just going to end up painting this entire top section here just to make it look, you know, really good. We want it to look really nice. Now most of this area down here is going to be hidden, you know, with your headlight here, and then you got your filler that goes behind your bumper, which actually holds your headlight. All this stuff down here is going to get covered up, but you will see this top part, and I'm really happy, like I said, with the way this has turned out. And now we can go ahead and start getting some of this stuff coated, and then we can get our radiator and everything back together on the front end. Well, today it's actually 71 degrees, and I decided, hey, I better go ahead and lay down some paint on this radiator support, and that's exactly what I've done. And you can see it looks nice and glossy. It's not perfect, but it don't need to be perfect. Now this is urethane single stage out of a paint gun. It's not rattle can. I do not like using rattle can on stuff like this. And you can see it turned out pretty good. So it's been a few days, and we gave this paint plenty of time to dry here on the radiator support. That means we can start reassembling all of our parts. And we're going to start off with the radiator. We also have our fuse box, our battery tray, and we have our air box that we need to put back in. Also, this wiring with the crash sensors and everything needs to get reinstalled. So let's get to it. Making progress. We have the radiator in. We already have it filled up with coolant. We have our mount on. We have the air box back in. We have our brace on. And there's a few other things that I need to do before I go hooking the battery back up. And that is, I have a brand new Serpentine Belt to put on. And I might as well go ahead and do it while I have all the stuff out of the way, and it's a lot easier. So we seem to have another little issue that I'm gonna have to deal with first. If you see this wetness here, this is the power steering pump leaking at the fitting, and it's kind of hard to tell, but that line's actually loose and it needs to be tightened up. But guess what? You can't get in there to it. This pulley's gonna have to be removed. So I'm gonna have to work on this and get the belt back on, and then we can continue on. But this is one of those snags that you run into when you get these cars. You just never know, you know, stuff goes so good and then you hit something like this and you got to stop. Now, power steering line issue is fixed. As you can see, it's nice and tight, and like I stated, I had to pull this pulley off and press it back on. It wasn't too hard. Sometimes those things can be a real pain, but it actually went on and off pretty easily. And you can see I've got the brand new Serpentine Belt on. Now we can concentrate on putting our fuse box back in, hooking these wires up, and getting our battery back in. And she's back running. Now, I've had this thing running for a few minutes to get it up to operating temperature so we can check for any kind of leaks that we might have with the radiator, either the hoses or to the transcooler, and we do not seem to have any kind of problems. And as you can hear, this thing's purring right along. You can see our brand new Serpentine Belt spinning there like it should, and everything is pretty much together underneath the hood here. We've replaced our air box, as you can see here. That was a problem, and we've corrected all the stuff over here by the battery. So now that we have everything squared away underneath the hood, we're going to concentrate back on the front end up here. We're going to go ahead and temporarily install our front bumper cover and our headlights. With the bumper cover back on the car, you can see everything lines up pretty good. Now, we still do have some issues over here around the headlight, right here on the fender, and right here on the bumper cover. As you can see, this is broke, but all that stuff will get addressed when we move to the bodywork stage of this project, which is coming up soon.